Oh, YouTube. I'm fine. How are you? Are you fine? It's all fine. I'm Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. And this is my weekly comic book review show for the week of June 30th, 2021. It's almost July. It's almost douchey fireworks season. I say that because I have a scared English bulldog who looks super tough, but he's really the biggest wuss ever. And he's terrified of fireworks. And you know, I live in what's basically a suburb without a city, with everyone lifted trucks and dualies and boats and jet skis. It's the land of bored people and fireworks, and it's gonna be a nightmare weekend. Don't light fireworks, you stupid jackasses! That's my public little diatribe. If you're into fireworks, yeah, go America. All right, enough of that rant. Weekly comic books, worst to best, like always. And we're gonna start with the worst book of the week because that's how I roll. Because I don't want you to start with the best. Work your way up to it. It's like a ramp. You have to start low, end on a high note. So the low note of the week is Black Knight: Curse of the Ebony Blade #4. I just want this stupid miniseries to be over. It is not good. This entire issue is pretty much just an internal monologue exposition dump explaining the new-ish revised history of things and Mordred, and I don't care. But I'm invested far enough. They're like, there's only one issue left, so this is the penultimate. I just like that word. The word is better than the issue. I just want this to be done. It's the whiniest, most annoying, obnoxious version of Dane Whitman I've ever read. Not that I'm well versed on him that really, but it's holy crap. It's just not good writing. It's the laziest storytelling ever. It's just a pause but in a fight scene where an internal monologue flashback. I mean, it is just garbage. I am sorry. Cy Spurrier, I like some of his stuff. I don't know who Davila is. He's writing it with that person, but this is just not good. It's not fine. It's not great. It's not mediocre. It is bad. They're getting a bit better, but yeah. This one I just kind of kept on my pull list because it's Star Wars, and I'm a sucker for Star Wars. Star Wars Adventures #2, The Weapon of the Jedi. This is a useless damn story. It is just sort of Luke going off to find it. I don't know, it's pre-Dagobah, I think. I don't know. I really don't even know. I can't remember. Nothing much happened in the first one. In the second one, he spends most of this issue training with the little globy droids from Star Wars. Sorry, spoilers. And apparently forgetting all the lessons he learned in the first movie, and now he has to relearn them all. And bladdy. It's better than Black Knight, but it's still. Okay, this is just sort of coincidence. Not really coincidence. It's just kind of the nature of these books lately. We're getting better, and this is one of the better issues of Star Wars: The High Republic I've read. It's Star Wars: The High Republic #6. It's still, I don't know. There's something about this. It's just not right. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars book, and it doesn't feel like a Star Wars story. And I'm not saying every Star Wars story has to be the same because that'd be horribly boring. This is just kind of a muddled, and I know that's my favorite word for bad storytelling, but it's accurate. It's a muddled mess. It's there's giant evil plants, I guess. And now the Jedi and the the Fets have sort of teamed up, and that's it. It's a filler issue. They sort of, I think, learn how to go to the next MacGuffin step to fight the next MacGuffin thing to extend this stupid plant storyline forever. It's a bad villain. It's a boring story, and it just keeps trudging along with characters nobody gives a shit about. Yeah, this is better. Star Wars Dr. Aphra. I don't know if this is the first appearance of Dirge. Okay. At the very least, Dr. Aphra does something kind of dastardly in this. She's not been dastardly in the majority of what I've been doing, and she's kind of supposed to be that kind of snarky, not so nice character, but she's just been kind of not well written, and I'm also you expect her to be the most clever in the room and come up with these like great escapes and all that stuff. It's just not very clever writing. It's not very entertaining. This is also like getting shoehorned into the War of the Bounty Hunters for no real reason. Although this one actually the next issue might tie in a little more. And it's just, I don't know. I am tired, and I mean I can't help it. I'm a Star Wars sucker. Star Wars sucker. Star Wars sucker. Yeah, words are hard. But I'm gonna keep reading them. But I don't have to like them, do I? I don't know. Whatever. All right. Better. Interesting ideas in this next one. And like we're in the it's fine section. Look, fine, it's fine. You can buy this shirt online at taylorwinder.com. Shameless plug. And maybe if I remember how to edit, I'll put a taylorwinder.com thing right on the lower level. If I remember to see this hand motion and do it, I probably won't. I record the video, I upload it, and then I go about my life. So taylorwinder.com. Even if I don't put it there, just go there and you'll be fine. Yeah, this is the United States of Captain America #1. There are some interesting ideas in this. And like there's it's a lot of inner monologue and a lot of inner Steve Rogers, but like it's also like he's talking about how the symbol of the flag in America has gotten like twisted and like about the divide in America, and it's pretty relevant to what's actually going on in the country. And it introduced not a new Captain America, but maybe it's a new Captain America. Maybe they're calling the person Captain America who just happens to be gay, which is fine, and like. A homeless gentleman, I believe they identify as male, like that is introduced in here, and there's potential for that, but it's just kind of a dull intro and sort of a dull story thus far. It's not the storytelling itself isn't new. The messages are on point and relevant, and it's timely, but it's just there's not a whole lot of interest in things that happen in the story in here. So. I don't know. Captain America, United States, Captain America #1. It is first appearance, so if you're specking, probably pick it up. And like that, who knows if the character's gonna go anywhere? Everyone's specking on everything nowadays. I mean, they're specking on the AI of Iron Man. It's the dumbest thing ever. All right, Daredevil 31. Normally, it's like Daredevil's usually it's consistent, and this is like one of the weaker issues of Daredevil. It's still good. It's still better than like this Drek, but. It's just a filler issue. Like if you're not caught up, it's minor spoilers. Matt Murdock's still in prison and Elektra's still Daredevil. You know, if you don't know that, well, whoopsie. It's kind of about it. It's just like I know Zdarsky's going to get back to it, and I know he's going to have some action and stuff, and I know it's going to like lead somewhere. But at the point, and it's a cool cover. The cover, I don't even remember this character's in here. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think there's anything. Nope, not really. But sorry if you're expecting that. The art's by Mike Hawthorne, who's okay. I like Chichetto's art better. I think it fits Daredevil a bit better than Hawthorne. And both stories, A story and the B story, whichever one you want to call which, the prison story and the Daredevil and the Elektra story, they both need to start getting somewhere because they're both kind of treading water at this point. And that's my issue. It's still a little bit interesting. The Daredevil's starting to like Matt Murdock is starting to become a little bit one note with Chip, and it's all about like having to do what's right and staying in prison because it's the right thing to do, and I get it, but like it's gotta go somewhere, and it hasn't. And the Elektra thing also has to go somewhere. It's a little bit more interesting. Her arc is a little more interesting, and it's still solid, but I don't know. I expected better. So, all right. Speaking of filler issues that are still enjoyable, but they're filler. Yeah, Beta Ray Bill #4. My favorite character, and Daniel Warren Johnson's art is fantastic on this. I love his take on Beta Ray Bill as far as the art goes, and I actually like his characterization of it. There's a lot of like self angst and stuff involved with the character, which is understandable, and I understand the angle he's going for and coming from with it. It's just this is another issue where like not really anything happens to drive the main arc forward, and when you're only working with 5 issues. Like it's having a sort of filler issue in a 5-issue story just seems kind of I don't know weak. Like you could have condensed this down to 4 issues and been fine, or you could have you really probably could have with this. That said, it's still a fun romp, and like it's still I'm really excited to read the next issue because I think it's probably going to be spectacular, especially from the art perspective. But like, I just need a little more something to bite into, and there's not a lot of not really a whole lot to bite into in this one. So it's like a gorgeous fake piece of cake. Is that a thing? Probably not. Yeah, we're gonna do it in this order. Parasomnia #1 by Colin Bunn with art by Andrea Moody. The art on this is fantastic. Artist who's done did Maniac in New York, and I know other stuff too, but I think that's the one I can remember right now. Colin Bunn, who's usually solid, and this is just a weird ass story. It takes place, I think, in 3 different time periods and stuff. There's a homeless gentleman. There's a something like 18, like sort of like Sheriff of Nottingham type period, and also a family looking for a kid. And I think the kid is going to end up being the key to all this. I think it's like a boy that's going to tie this all together. But right now, it's none of it's tied together. This is just kind of. This had the potential to be really high in this list. It really did. If there was a little bit more explanation. And I'm not saying exposition dump, and I'm not saying anything like that. I like the mystery of it, and I'm okay with being confused. This one I'm going to go along for the ride for at least one more. It's not always the case anymore. I'm trying to get pickier and trying to like get a bit better at being one and done if I'm really not into the book. I'm into this. I just don't know what the heck it's about yet. That's my big thing. There's enough here in the first issue where I'm hooked, and there's enough weirdness in it that I'm hooked, and I have faith that it'll like sort of start tying together in issue #2. Right now, the art is what's getting me through it, and the art's what's getting me into issue 2. It's just it kind of reminds me of The Fisher King, that movie with Robin Williams. I don't know, for some reason. I mean, I guess not just some reason, but it's also that kind of Terry Gilliam type story where there's like a main story and there's a fantasy, and you're not sure what's what, and like, well, not sure what's real in this, and not sure what's in a character's head, and you know, some of that kind of stuff. Also, there's the homeless person and stuff. So there's a lot of parallels to it. Now that I think about it, that it fits pretty well. So go watch Fisher King, then read this. All right, this one came out last week, but I didn't get a copy, so I had to hunt it down at a different comic shop who happened to have one this week. My LCS, theirs were damaged, so I'm probably going to end up with 2 of them, but that's okay. Heroes Return #1. This wraps up the Heroes Reborn, and you know, it's a. I didn't think I was going to like Heroes Reborn. Jason Aaron, kind of his Avengers run, I stopped reading because it started boring me. And he's been hit or miss lately. I liked his Thor stuff a lot, and I like some of the other stuff, but like he just kind of lately is like, eh. But his Heroes Reborn was a lot of fun, and this is a fun wrap up to it. It's a, you know, like it's not earth shattering. It's really, you could barely call it an event. It's just it's a mini series. I know I didn't read any of the spin-offs and stuff, and I know there's people specking on it because people spec on all this crap, but I doubt, like I said, I didn't at the beginning of it. I didn't think there's going to be any lasting repercussions for the Marvel Universe, and there really probably isn't in this issue either. But it's a solid wrap up. It's you know, you get the world back as we know it. My biggest complaint is the way it ends is pretty anticlimactic, and some of it happens on a weird page turn. I don't want to get it out and open it because I'm lazy, but if you see it, like the way that the things get set back to normal, you're like, what? And then you have to flip back and like, oh, and then you're like, eh. But up until then, it was fantastic. And after that, it was decent. And there are, you know, hints that it'll have actual repercussions and stuff. The very last panel gives the idea of something that's probably going to like take place in Avengers, so I won't read it. But it's an interesting notion. And like he's setting up a bigger and badder bad guy. Person, stuff, things. Yep, okay. Made in Korea #2. This reminds me a lot of the show, BBC show Humans. Or Human? Man, can't remember exactly what it's called. Korean, made in Korea. There's a Korean robot factory that makes like these robots that can serve humans. You know, never heard of that one before, right? And you know, one programmer gets the idea to program one really a little much smarter than the rest, and that premise has kind of been done before, and even some of the what's going on here has been done before. But like, it's an interesting new take. Like, I think it's a pretty fresh take on that sort of trope. I think it is a trope at this point, but the little girl character is actually pretty fascinating. The little robot and the main scientist that kind of created her. That I'm not so interested in. But the family dynamic of the parents and then this little girl and what's going to happen and like the ending of this one left me really kind of interested to see what's going to happen in the next issue. Uh, yeah, I mean it's not groundbreaking, solid art, decent story, and I'm interested in reading issue number 3. I think it's a limited thing. It's got to be. I don't think there's any way this can be an ongoing. Department of Truth number, whatever the heck number this is. Number 10. Okay, this is a good issue. It sort of starts picking up the next big story arc of Department of Truth. The art by Simmons is still fantastic and great. Tynan is Tynan. He stretches his stories out and tells slow burn kind of stories. And like I don't want to spoil a whole lot. It's Bigfoot. This, in case you couldn't tell what this is, it's a little unclear from the cover. There's journal pages in here that are written that I know bugged pop culture philosopher Rock and Robbie. They didn't really bug me too much. You know, you have to read like 3 or 4 pages of like journal, and there might have been a better way to do that where you could have told it in panel or had it in an in panel. It didn't bother me as much as, I mean, it's definitely an exposition dump and an info dump, but I think in this case it was okay. My biggest complaint is journals don't look as beat up as that they do in there, and it's a little hard to read at times. And I get what they're going for and all that, but like just write it on some paper and call it a day. You know, if you're gonna do that. Still solid, interesting idea, like grand ideas behind this. And you know, if you're not reading this, catch up to issue number 1. Truth is what the world makes of it, kind of ish. So, and here we go. We've got. Well, we're getting there, folks. We've got. I want to make sure these are in the right order. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Sorry, I have to arrange them. Red Room number 2. Yeah, this is Ed Piskor just going batshit wacko in the best of ways. Dark web, torture porn, murder porn. Each issue of this is going to be a self-contained thing. There's references to what happened in the first issue a little bit, but you don't need to read the first issue to catch up with this, really. Like people pay to watch other people kill people on the web, and each story is sort of a self-contained thing. It's kind of a popular thing right now, these horror self-contained. There's like the the Ice Cream Man, the Silver Coin. This is one of the better ones. Ed Piskor is at the top of his game. The art is detailed and fantastic and weird and trippy and like bizarre and gross and fun. And his color palette is just like cream and black with like white word bubbles. It's a very effective minimal thing. It's not his first time using it, but it's definitely a throwback to these old horror tales and stuff. Set in the modern era of the internets and stuff. It's not for everybody. It's gonna gross people out. There's definitely images in here that like you're like, yeah. But if you're down for some of that, definitely check out Red Room. It's a grossly gorgeous book. All right, this next one is the most fun book of the week by a lot. Barbaric number 1. This is minor spoilers for this is a barbarian who's been cursed to do good with a talking axe that like drinks blood and gets more violent, and lots of swearing, lots of profanity, lots of murder, lots of activity, little light on plot, little bit, but I don't care. It's just a romp, and like this would make a fun show if in the right hands. Like if like the folks that made The Boys or something like that were to get a hold of this could be a lot of fun. As it is, it's a fun as hell comic. Moretti and Gooden have a great thing on their hands. I know it's been other folks' pick of the week. It could be mine, but you'll see it in my next 2, and I think I have reasons for why they are instead. But yeah, this is, dude. If you're looking if you don't mind profanity and you don't mind murder, I mean it's back to back. But this is just yeah. The art is rough. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Jay Lee, and in some ways, I guess. But just the story itself, it's a romp. It's a delightful romp. All right, Autumnal. What was this? 8. This is the last issue of Autumnal, and Autumnal's been a slow burn horror series, kind of like Red Mother, although not quite as slow burny as Red Mother was. Read Red Mother too if you haven't. And this wraps up. It's from Vault Comics. It's Krauss and Shahan and evil tree nature stuff and town folk and all that. Again, I think this could make a great small budget, like low budget horror film, if done right. And it has that tone to it, that indie sort of Hereditary or some of the other smaller budget like films that have come out lately. And I think this would fit the bill. And it sticks the landing. It's a solid ending. It's not what I expected for the ending. The last 2 or 3 issues have been a little bit slow, and so like this last issue really needed to like wrap it all up, and it did. Not in the way I expected. Not yeah. I don't want to spoil it for folks. I would recommend it. I don't think there's any need to get into the individual issues unless you already have them. I like this cover quite a bit, but I think picking up the trade would be worth your while for Autumnal. The Autumnal. All right, my book of the week. I can't say pick of the week because that's the Rockin' Robbie's, and I don't want to copy him because copying is bad. So my favorite, my most fine. Ooh, we should say my most fine book of the week. Then that doesn't roll off the tongue. Anyhow, crossover number 7. My LCS actually was out. Had damaged this too, so I had to go find it somewhere else. And I would have just waited, but I'm an impatient son of a bitch, and I knew I really wanted to read this one, and it did not disappoint. It's Chip Zdarsky writing Chip Zdarsky into the world of crossover. It's very meta, even self-aware, and it's like I don't know how much of this is accurate, or if it's Chip poking fun at like autobiographical stories and like self-doubt and stuff. I gotta feel it's a little bit of truth nuggets and some gems hidden into here. But either way, it's an effectively told story, one and done kind of Chip issue. Like in crossover, like these certain comic book artists and writers have been like swallowed up into the crossover world, and like what happens is Chip Zdarsky writes that Chip Zdarsky has been taken over and brought in the crossover world, and this is what happens in this one and done issue. It's my favorite issue of crossover by a lot. I think crossover has been fine. I think Donny Cates is doing a decent job, and I'll keep reading it. But this is just kind of like when you let other people play in your playground, and like they do a much better job with the toys than you do. It's something else. And like Chips, like just sort of came in and kind of blew away everything else that has happened before, and like did the best issue of it, and the sort of like the best, iteration, I guess, of like the crossover world in that's happened yet. And he did his cover, which I kind of really like. Self portrait, bleak, like Canada, because he's Canadian, and Canada apparently is bleak and bloody. But yeah, crossover number 7. It's my pick of the week. Book of the week, whatever. Most fine book of the week, whatever. I'll figure out something to call it. All right, there you have it, folks. A couple of damaged issues that I didn't get and stuff. I'm trying to sort of wean my pile down a little bit. I've been buying way too much crap. And some of it really is crap. I'm trying my best not to like get sucked into the speculation game for every single book that came out. And there's certain titles I'm just done with. Like I know Teen Titans Academy had a yearbook that came out today. I don't care. I'm done with Teen Titans Academy. It lost me. There's a Green Arrow Giant or whatever that came out. I just don't care. So a lot of these X books and stuff, I'm just over. So that's what you have for me. But let me know what you're reading. Let me know if I missed actually some good books. Let me know if you disagree with all my opinions, and like, subscribe, all that crap. My It's Fine shirts, again, available, TaylorWinter.com. That's my 23rd shameless plug of this video. And so I am done. I'm going to get out of here. Don't be a dick, even if you find yourself trapped in a comic book universe. See ya.